Grounded is the definition of jack of all trades, master of none. And that's not a knock on the game. It may sound like an insult or even, you know, negative, but I don't mean it that way at all. It's actually a good thing. Some things in life are better or preferred because you get a little bit of everything, but not a lot of one thing. First thing that comes to mind, maybe not the best example, but like a all you can eat buffet. What makes those things so popular, right? The fact that you can gorge yourself on food, that's got to be number one. But definitely a top three, or at least number two, would be the fact that you get all sorts of different foods, right? Varieties. You get to try different things, pay one price, and you go home satisfied. I feel like Grounded is that. It's an all you could eat buffet and all sorts of things, but it doesn't necessarily master one specific thing. I so far I now full disclosure, I didn't finish Grounded yet, but I'm sure I'm like 80% done. Where at the very end I'm about to get the not to spoil it for everyone, but I'm trying to you know what, I'm not even going to get into it cuz there's no way I can phrase it without revealing something, but I'm very close to the end. I know this for sure. So I've definitely dropped a nice amount of hours. I probably should have checked before I started recording how many hours exactly I've dropped into this game. But we've been playing it for a few weeks now, every night. Yesterday we played it for about four straight. I know some of y'all hearing that like that's fucking rookie numbers, bro. Pump that up. But 4 hours is a lot for someone like me who's unless it's Starfield, maybe six. Anyways, there's always exceptions, right? Um, So jack of all trades, master of none. That's a great way to describe this game, and like once again, it's not a knock. This it does everything right. It does the crafting right. It's fun. It's engaging. It's easy. It's easy to craft, and I play with three other people, and we all have different personalities. We've got one. I play with two girls and a guy. The two girls are very similar in the sense that they both love to explore. The second they touch down, the second they get online, boom, they're off and they pick a random direction and they're just one thing after another. They start picking for materials, then that materials turns into a bug fight, then that bug fight turns into exploring a cave, and I can't get too mad at them, even though I do lose my patience sometimes, but I can't get too upset because that's what I do when I play alone. But there's a big differentiator. There's a big difference between running along while you're in a group doing your own thing than playing solo. When I play solo, that's what I do. One thing leads to another. I start off collecting materials and I end up doing an entire side quest on a different island or world or setting. But when you're doing that with a group of people, it's kind of like, what's the point of playing with people if you're going to go play by yourself? So that's how I view it. But other people don't feel like that. Some people may feel like, hey, as long as we're all playing together and talking to each other, we don't necessarily need to be in the same space in the game. So I understand that too. But like this is a game of cooperation, especially that I'm pretty sure that the difficulty ramps up, meaning like the enemy's life bars increase because there's multiple people on the server. So like I know lots of games that do this. Remnant that I just played, Remnant 2, definitely. Like I noticed that bosses are way more easier to kill when you're playing solo as opposed to two other people. They become more sponges, more tanks, which makes perfect sense because you don't want to just completely destroy a boss or whatever. I bet in just a few shots you're gonna seem OP everywhere you go. So I get it. I bet that's got to be tough for developers to find that perfect balance of difficulty. Because it's so subjective, right? Some people may find easy hard. Some people may find hard easy. It's very subjective. So props to them for finding that perfect balance. I remember, I don't exactly know. I remember hearing a developer, or at least listening to an interview or reading an article. I can't remember. I can't even remember the game that the developer was talking about, but he said something that always stuck with me. He said that we're actually when we make a video game and we're balancing out the difficulty and the gameplay, we're actually making the AI dumber because the AI knows where you're at all times. That I believe this is what the article or the interview said. So it's like we actually, even through walls and everything, like the AI always knows the NPCs or whatever. They all know where you're at all times. So it's like we have to actually make them dumber. So I was like, wow, it's like reverse engineering almost, right? I think I used that phrase correctly. Excuse me. So the crafting is simple and fun, and the aesthetic is simple and fun. They really tapped into the 80s vibe, with Honey I Shrunk the Kids. Like you can tell this was heavily inspired by that movie, which is one of my favorite movies growing up. I haven't seen it in years, and man, I that's on the list after playing this, man. I got to go back and rewatch that. So I remember loving it as a kid, and I always remember like the iconic scene of the kids in the cereal. They were like shrunk, and they were in the cereal, and there was this one kid just using I think it was a Cheerio, like a little oat circle, and in the water, and he's using it as a life raft or whatever. And he's just surrounded by milk, and I was just like, I remember as a kid thinking like, oh my god, that's crazy. It's inside the bowl of cereal. Like it blew my mind. So that's a scene that for some weird reason I always carried around in my head whenever someone spoke about the movie or about 80s movies. And then here we are, in 2023. I believe this game came out last year, 2022, maybe 2021. I don't quite remember. I know it was in early access for a while. But here we are in 2023 in the modern era, and there's a game inspired on one of the most iconic movies that I can remember. Always, obviously this game wasn't made for me, though it feels like it. It feels like it was made for people like me who are, in their 30s, pushing 40, and, you know, nostalgic shit, Maybe I can't, I don't really have my finger on the pulse when it comes to modern movies or anything like that. So maybe just recently in these past few years, maybe there's been some sort of a renaissance when it comes to movies about people getting shrunk and backyards or in cereal bowls in this case that I don't know of. Maybe there's a more popular movie than Honey I Shrunk the Kids, or even a more recent movie than Honey I Shrunk the Kids that kind of adds to why Obsidian decided to make such a specific type of game. They must have had just, I'm assuming, since I don't know about anything current that's going on at least in the movie world or the pop culture world. So maybe there is like some sort of a small people movement that I don't know about. But it seems like they just all really, probably, I'm assuming that they all remember the movie as fondly, Honey I Shrunk the Kids, as I did. So they were like, you know what, man, we all love this movie. Why don't we just make a game based on it, or based loosely on it, or whatever, and or inspired by it. That's probably the better word. And they nailed it. They know the aesthetics are fun. To be honest with you, the number one complaint that I have, and this is how you know I enjoyed the game so far. The number one complaint that I can say, I have another complaint. I have a friend who kind of keeps spoiling it. Not to get into super details, but that's another big reason why I didn't get into this game as much as I should have. But that isn't the entire reason. And what he did basically was like he kept looking stuff up and how to craft this and how to craft that, and he knows kind of like the story where it's going to go, and like, so he's a big strategy exploitation cheating type guy, and I'm not. So like we bump heads on that a lot, and not in a argumentative way or nothing, but I do tell him like, hey man, like don't spoil it for me. Like if that's what you want to do, please do it, but like don't tell us nothing, because, and I'm not the only one there. The girls also, they feel as if like they don't want to know anything. But then again, like, that brings me to my next subject, which would be like, that would be considered cheating to me. If you're looking stuff up on, you can say, yeah, it's a strategy, you can strategy guide, you're looking up for guidance, you're looking up for a walkthrough. To me, that's still cheating, because you're not, you're looking you're looking at something that's going to reveal the game to you. So that's like, you can call it, it's light cheating. If it's not cheating outright, it's definitely some sort of light cheating, some sort of, you know what I mean, some sort of aid. And if it's some sort of aid, then it's some sort of cheating. Like, I'll give you an example, right? Let's say, and I watch a lot of MMA, right? A lot of mixed martial arts, right? You would consider performance enhancing drugs, PEDs, like, steroids and anabolic steroids and all that, and TRT, all that would be considered an aid, right? And an aid is considered cheating by USADA and other, dope testing companies. So what I'm saying is, a fighter may see it as an aid, but USADA, or any organization who tests these fighters, they consider it cheating. So I know those are extreme examples because I'm talking about, drugs, and then I'm talking about video games. Like, how can, but the principle's the same. The principle is someone who looks at walkthroughs and exploits and cheating and mods to get further into the game, they would look at that as aids. I'm aiding myself into finishing this game or into enjoying this game. I would look at it as cheating. So it's like, you pick your side there, but that's one of the reasons why it semi spoiled this game for me. Another would be the smallest complaint ever, and that would be the banter between the group. Usually, there's banter between the four kids. It's two girls, two guys. Um, Pete, what's that guy's name? I can't remember. I know his last name is Smalls. Then you got Willow and Hoops. So Hoops, Willow, Pete, Max. Max, that's his name. So the banter that they have between each other is very PG, very politically correct. And I want to I was thinking as I would, because you get to hear this banter a lot. So, and trust me, I've played games where you hear banter over and over and over again from different companions. I'm looking at you like Fallout 3, and other games that you play. And I understand not every single interaction is going to be fresh and new. You are going to hear repeat lines and repeat jokes. If the quality of the joke is good, or the quality of the lines that they are saying is good, you don't mind hearing it multiple times. That's something at least I personally experience. And also, not only do I read online, but I have friends also. They go, I never get tired of that joke, or I love his personality, even though I've heard that joke 57 times right now. I can't say that about Grounded. The banter between them is sometimes borderline cringy, and to the point where I remember playing and thinking this in my head, like, not only is this a small complaint, but also, like, I wish they would have hired a comedian or somebody that really understands jokes. But then I started thinking, like, oh well, we do live in a very politically correct time, and everything can be politicized. Everything can be looked at through the lens of gender and in the lens of race. And it's like, you don't want to say anything inflammatory, because anything can be inflammatory. Like gender. Just saying something as simple as I believe men are men and women are women. Just saying that is enough to get you hate from the voices of the internet and possibly real life. Well, I'm sure real life too. But what I'm trying to say is, regardless of what you believe in that front, because things are very weird right now in this time. Like anything. My point to bring the reason I'm bringing that up is that anything and everything can be inflammatory in 2023. Even things like that have to do with facts and science. Like it's just, like that doesn't. It's obviously much more than that to some people, and they're ready to die on that hill. So I was thinking as I was playing this game, like, man, maybe they didn't hire any comedians, or maybe they didn't, you know, take any risks in their dialogue because they didn't want to be inflammatory. I don't know. I'm just, maybe I'm overthinking. Maybe they just aren't that good at creating banter, but that's hard to believe because this is Obsidian, right? Like the Obsidian Fallout New Vegas, arguably the best Fallout in the entire series, Obsidian. And even in what was the latest Obsidian game that I played? I believe it was The Outer Worlds, right? Maybe am I right for that? Jesus, man, I'm sorry if Obsidian didn't make that, but I'm pretty sure they did. Even the banter there was awesome. Like, what's her name? Pavarotti? Pav? I can't remember her name, but the mechanic girl, she was awesome. Like, I usually don't do like romance in video games. I always find that weird to romance someone, to have sex with someone in a video game. I've done it before in video games, but like it's just, I don't know. I just always feel like this makes me feel weird. I don't know. It's just, I'm like, this is odd to me. It's like hentai or some shit. Like I just makes me kind of cringe a little bit, and I go like, I'm here to play. I'm not here to do that with video games. Um, but whatever, man. To each their own. It's no harm done. If you're out there just fucking everyone, dudes, aliens, plants, knock yourself out, man. It's there for a reason, right? They implemented it because they wanted you to use it, and God, you're gonna use it. Um, yeah, that's how you know the game is good. When to me that was probably the only complaint I had because the crafting was good. The combat was simplistic and good. That seems to be a recurring theme in this game, right? Simplistic but good. Crafting simplistic but good. Combat simplistic but good. Story simplistic but good because I'm not spoiling nothing to you. I'm not spoiling nothing if I tell you, hey, these are kids who have been shrunk, and the whole quest, the whole point of this game, the end game here is to get big again, to get back to your normal size. I'm not spoiling nothing at all. But that's pretty much what the story is, simplistic but fun, just like everything in this game. And if you've played a survival crafting game, this one is like survival crafting light. You know what I mean? Definitely one of these games. It's like a Disney game, and what I mean by that is like not humor wise or anything. It's Disney. Disney's products are always aimed for everyone. You know, I mean, primarily they were for kids, but that changed drastically. You know, Disney owns, I think, the rights to UFC or something like that. I'm not sure, but Disney and the UFC are in cahoots of some sort, which to me is insane to think about that. The same people that are in there spilling each other's guts all over a cage is the same people who go, who own a mouse inside of a costume, and people get married in front of that goddamn fake castle that they have in Disney World. It's so weird that they're the same company. Whatever. What I'm saying is that originally Disney started off as like specifically for kids, at least to my knowledge, and now it's pretty much for everyone. That's what Grounded reminds me of. It's like it looks cartoonish, the aesthetics or whatever, and you're playing as kids, so you're like, okay, this is gonna be like a everyone type game, and it is an everyone type game, but it has dark undertones from the music to like some of the themes, like horror. There's some horror there. Like sometimes when these bugs and like it'd be nighttime and their eyes turn red and they're chasing and they're mammoth, especially when you're encountering it for the first time. You're it's fucking scary, man. There's times where you're like, oh shit, that's actually pretty terrifying. So yeah, I mean, like it hits all the right it hits all the right it hits all the right notes for it becoming a very lovable game. Like I can totally see. I don't see no one hating this game. I'm sure you don't have to look far at all to find people who do not like this game. You know, people don't like nothing nowadays. But well, that's a gross overstatement. What I'm saying is like it's it's not hard to go online and find somebody that hates something. As a matter of fact, the first comment is usually somebody saying some disrespectful, hateful shit. So what I'm saying is it's going to be very difficult for you to find somebody who doesn't like this game, who at least plays it and goes like, "Okay, that was cool. It's not my thing, but it was cool." Like it's I don't know, and that's a talent, right? It's a talent for you to make something that mostly everyone likes. That's a hard thing to do, even harder in today's climate, political climate, or whatever the case may be. But I was just thinking, right? Because I wrote some notes here. I was going to tell a little story about my brother, right? Like I told you, I have a friend who likes to. He doesn't. You can tell he doesn't intend to spoil the game, but he's been looking stuff up so much on, I guess, the Grounded Wiki or whatever, so he knows all the mechanics and he knows what's gonna happen. And and every now and then he'll say things like, "Oh, you have to get this in order to get that," and I'm just like, "Gee, I wonder how you know that." Like I mess with him playing around. And I was just thinking, like, it reminds me of like. At first, I was like, maybe I'm overreacting because it's just a game, right? If he's having fun, isn't that the whole point of a video game? Right? Like even if you're quote unquote cheating, right? Isn't that the point of a video game to have fun? So if you're cheating and you're having fun, as long as you're having fun, that's the goal of the video game. So I found myself thinking like maybe I'm kind of being an asshole. Maybe I should let him have fun. But I can't stop feeling like it is annoying when he tells me things because I want to find them out myself. I'm that type of guy. So I was just thinking about like when I was younger, I remember the movie Scream came out. I remember with the guy with the Scream mask, and it became very popular. It got spoofed and everything like that. And I remember seeing the first one and liking it with my brother. So my brother ended up seeing the second one without me, and then I ended up catching up with him, and we both saw it together. So I was younger, and I remember I was like, "Oh, this should be fun. I know you already saw the movie, but don't tell me anything." And then he was like, "Okay, I got you, whatever. No bullshit." 5 minutes into the movie, when the killer comes on the screen, I've forgotten what scene. He points the finger at the screen, and goes, "He did it." And I look at him, and I remember just looking, like he just gave me a look, like you know, like that was okay. And I was like, "What the fuck, dude?" And he was like, "Oh no, no, I was just joking. I was just joking." I was like, "Bro, you're not joking. That's really the guy." And it turned out to be the guy. But he tried to play it off like, He's trying to just straight up lie to cover his incompetence because he you can tell it was killing him. It was like you look at his face and you look at he's just like I couldn't hold it, like I couldn't hold it, but he couldn't verbalize that. But I can tell by looking at him like it just killed him. He couldn't. He was like sweating almost, like he couldn't hold it. That's how I feel my friend is. Like if I say something like so I have to keep these things to myself now because it kills him. I'll be like, I wonder what material I need in order to craft this stronger axe. I can hear him boiling on the it's just yeah, you need obsidian, or like just he can't just go, man, I would tell you, but I want you to find that out yourself. Like the self control is like lacking basically, but he's a great guy. I enjoy playing with him. He's really funny. And I hope to continue playing with him in the future, but I don't know how much longer I can do this. We do intend to play Core Keeper because we heard good things about Core Keeper. That's the next one. I think after tonight we might actually finish the game, so we're gonna start Core Keeper soon. He's already playing it. No shocker there, right? He's already the other day. He's like, dude, I played it for like 8 hours and I fell asleep. And I was like, bro, like we were all supposed to play that together. But yeah. What can you do, right? But anyways, I remember him spoiling my brother spoiling the Scream movie, and the whole reason I brought that story up is because like he ruined it for me. And I was like, and that's the way I've always been since I was a kid. And I noticed that other people aren't like that. And it makes me feel like I'm a stick in the mud, right? Like I have other friends, like the two girls that they don't like being, they like to find things out themselves. But if you were to tell them what happened in the story, they're very indifferent. They are. They're very like, okay, cool. I'm gonna go over there and craft that. And you'd be like, oh, okay. Well, listen, if you craft this other thing, you get a better item. They'll go, okay, cool. I'll do that then. And I'm like, all right, man, they're so easygoing, and I get so upset when someone spoils it for me. I'm like, maybe I should be like them. Maybe I should just be indifferent and just fucking play the game, even if I know what's gonna happen. I don't know, man. I can't help to feel that I just don't like. I want to experience things for myself first, and then we can talk about it afterwards. But you can't tell me what happens. I don't know, man. Not to each their own, right? Maybe I'm overthinking this, all right? Maybe I'm just a guy who doesn't like things getting spoiled for him, and that's it. And that's the guy I'm gonna be till I die. The stick in the mud, right? Essentially. Of course, this gets a yes from me. You should definitely play Grounded, especially now. I'm playing it on Xbox Game Pass. I actually renewed it just to play this and No Man's Sky because I've been playing a lot of Starfield lately, and as soon as I'm done this Starfield, man, I'm not gonna finish that for months, and I am gonna play this game for months. And then right after that, I already got the runner up. The game that I'm playing directly after Starfield will definitely be Phantom Liberty. I'm gonna be playing Phantom Liberty like 8 months after that shit comes out, just like I did with the actual Cyberpunk, the vanilla Cyberpunk. So yeah, I got into the mood since I've been playing Starfield to play something crafty and also star oriented. So I was like, hey, I told the gang, hey, let's try No Man's Sky. We tried it before, we liked it, but we didn't really give it a solid shot. So we did. We gave it a solid shot. We played it for a few hours, and all of us kind of just went, like it's fun and we can see the lore in it, but maybe we didn't get far enough or whatever. But the flying was awesome. We all were flying around, and we were like, this is fucking cool. You can pretty much fly anywhere. It's such a massive game. So we all enjoyed that, but then we all landed in a world, and we were just like, okay, we're here in this world. Now we got to do more crafting, and I don't know. It was just missing. Maybe it's missing combat elements, and the combat elements aren't deep enough. I'm not crazy about space shuttle fighting. Like if you have a ship and you're fighting in space with lasers and dog fighting, I believe that's what they call it. I'm not crazy about that. I like my feet on the ground, guns. I'm able to dodge. I feel like I have much more control doing that. Or maybe I just suck. At flying ships and shooting at the same time. I don't know, but yeah, Game Pass was the perfect way to play this game. So if you do have $10, you got an all-you-can-eat buffet, which it's always a good thing because it is you get a little bit of everything. Like I said earlier, and Netflix has the same business model too, right? So you get a little bit of everything, and people love that shit. People love choices. They love variety. Um, yeah, so I'm like, I paid $10 for it. I feel like this is a game that I don't mind own. Like, I don't mind if I don't own it. Like maybe in the future, if I ever see it for like $10 or something, sure, I'll grab it. But like, as far as like owning it, I'm happy with just playing it and not actually owning it. I'm cool with that. But then again, that's me personally. I'm cool with most games like that. Like I don't need to actually own a game. In my head, as long as I experience the game, I'm happy. Like I recently I beat Tears of the Kingdom, and I it took me like 4 months. No bullshit. I'm not gonna get into it, but long story short, I ended the game and I ended up selling my Switch, and I remember deleting all my data. So it's like can you imagine? Like I'm pretty sure for someone it must be like I will never do that, but like playing the game for 4 months and then going like, all right, I got all this data, however you want to say that word, and I'm just gonna keep it for in the future if I ever want to go back and play. I was like, no, I just deleted everything, no problem, and sold my Switch. And I'm like, damn, it's crazy how I don't have a problem with that, but to someone, it's like that's 4 months of work down the drain. You know what I mean? I don't have the. I think you need some sort of a subscription to have your save data saved on the cloud. Some sort of Nintendo subscription. I don't have that, so I just had the SD card, and I wiped the SD card, and I wiped the system, so that shit's gone. Unless, that changed and I do have my data up in the cloud somewhere, that'll be cool, but I doubt it. Yeah, do it. You got time, you got some friends. The Grounded is the way to go, man. It's real fun. I wish I could say, I feel like I say that a lot about games. I'm sorry if I do, but I feel like I always end these little videos of mine with the same phrase, which is like, I wish I can say something that stands out about the game, and I can't with this one, and I feel bad saying that because it's like it's not a bad game at all. It's actually a good game. I would give this game a solid 7 out of 10. And that's fucking great, man. If someone gave a game a 6, I'd be like, oh, that's above average. That's worth the play. But you got to know what you're getting yourself into. You got to, if a game's a 6 or anything's a 6, you're like, okay, I'm not gonna get the best here, but fuck it. I'm in the mood to play something like this. 6 scratches the itch. Let's do it. But I would give this game like a solid 7. You know, and that's only because I feel like it's deep enough. The crafting is deep enough. The combat is deep enough. The lore is deep enough. The story is deep enough. The setting is deep enough. The entire game is deep enough, but it's never too deep. It's never to the point where I'm like, this shit is crazy. It's blowing my mind. It's never like, and I hate to compare games, but like, it's not, you're not going to get wild like Red Dead Redemption, or wild like Cyberpunk. Like, it's not going to blow your mind, the story, and then just give you a hell of an experience afterwards. It's a fun fucking game that you can always play. You can always make a new build, and by build I mean craft certain types of gear. You can be a more projectile ranged fighter. You can be more close up fighter. Depending on which playthrough. Do I ever see myself playing this game again? Probably. Maybe in the future if something else comes out. I don't know if they're just gonna give up on this game, or they're gonna release some sort of DLC. If they do, then yeah, I think I may think about jumping in. Maybe a new story, new characters, maybe. That'd be cool. Uh, I'm okay with that. All in all, fun game. No major complaints aside. The dialogue, everything is done fun. The storyline so far is interesting, is entertaining. It's coming to a conclusion right now, and I like when you're about to finish a game because like you ever had that feeling when you're about to finish a game? I'm sure you did. I read about people having this feeling all the time, and you get sad. You actually get sad because you're like, "Damn, I'm so close to ending the game." So you start trying to do things to savor the game a little longer. You start doing side quests, or you start repeating other missions, or you just start, you're trying to delay the inevitable as much as you can because like in a couple of hours you're done. You're done this for sure. I guess I felt like that with Fallout. I remember Fallout 3, I felt like that was like sad because I got to the point where I was playing the game where I was like, I explored everywhere on the map. I talked to just about every single person, did about just every single quest. My character is maxed out. I cannot max my character up any higher. And I remember I was talking to, I don't know her name, it was Cassie. I forget her name, but she was like a companion. And I remember I jumped on top of this like abandoned car and she was just there looking at me all robotic, like an NPC is. And I remember just thinking like, man, I had so much fun with this game. And it was like nighttime. It was like all scenic. That's why I remember it in my head. And I remember thinking like, man, like I'm so sad that I'm gonna leave this digital world. This small little digital world, and I don't get that with Grounded. That sounds fucked up, right? I don't mean it that way. I'm just saying like it's not a revolutionary game. And once again, that sounds even worse. Oh my god, I should shut the fuck up. It's a good game, man. Play it. I'm comparing one of the greatest games ever created, Fallout 3 to Ground. That's not even fair, or is it, right? Cuz Fallout 3, or sorry, Fallout 70, excuse me. Fallout New Vegas was created by Obsidian and so was Grounded, so the comparisons can be legit. Maybe, dude, my brain, I don't even know how I make sense. I don't know how I get through life sometimes. Do it. Play the game. You won't regret it. Thanks for listening to me ramble. Talk to y'all later.